to the north of me. And that's a jet base. That's right, to the north of me. North of Herndon, huh?
Man, we'll see you next year.
I've been busy packing all day long.
Get him down.
Yeah, I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm going to go to California.
It's crazy out there.
If what?
I think I might need a bigger coconut bar for Doc Adams.
What is the number?
I think Doc Adams is a bigger size here, Brigham.
650. I got it written down. No, I had to pull everything out of my cupboards and everything for they're getting ready to put in new cupboard stuff and countertops here, so I had to get it all off.
Man. Hey, we appreciate you coming out here, man. All you good-looking boys that traveled out here, man, you are so appreciated around the grass. We'll see you next year, Bullet. I'll see you later. Let me ease on out here. The grass getting down.
Damn, that guy sounds good.
It's pretty crazy out there.
Well, hello, Dennis. Yeah, that guy sounded real good.
Yeah, they're starting to get good audio now.
You got that hammer.
Oh, ain't no doubt about it in my mind.
You got that hammer. Who you buy?
All right, I'll get started here and we'll see what we can do.
All right, write down 650.
Yeah, I heard him.
All right, so you got the number written down then, right?
And that is correct.
Okay, I don't in case I fall asleep.
Mini gas, you leave that in the mini gas. Just letting you know I can hear you. Take care of it.
All right, well, the mini grass can hear us, and hopefully the people that are supposed to be able to hear us can hear us here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
I'm talking about on the Old Tube Radio Network.
OTR 27.45 megahertz.
All right, let me go through it.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
You know, you go away from the air chair for a week, and then you don't remember what it is that you are supposed to do when you should be doing it. Hello, radio, the Old Tube Radio Network. If you can hear me, it is, as you can hear, lots of skip happening, lots of DX. The old radio night is still up and running on near the East Coast, and we're going to try and check in with them in just a moment if we don't hear them live and direct. But here on the West Coast, 27085 Channel 11, the Old Tube Radio Network, where real radios glow in the dark thanks to you and your radio collections, and we'll be talking with our tube radio operators and collectors shortly. Of course, we will start with the directed net roll call, the shortwave listeners and others joining us at 27085 over at oldtuberadio.net on the audio side and the YouTube video side. Welcome to you. It's good to be back in the air chair. My name is Dennis, and we are here in Central California doing what we have been doing for the last, 37 years, since the mid-1980s, joining our fellow operators on their tube radios and trying to recreate the sound and the atmosphere and the demeanor that we all remember from the days of yore on your CB radio. It still exists here on the Old Tube Radio Network. So without any further ado, I will unkey. We'll hear the radio cacophony that is 11 meters here on March 25th. And we'll try and get everyone checked in. We're here till at least 10 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. So if you can't get in during the roll call, we will get you in at some time. Just come by and break for OTR. So our current 00 is a station that if they were in Skip Land, they would probably need to be somewhere in Hawaii for me to see them. But that's SWL 30 Dwayne, and Dwayne is out there, so I will get the X in the square. Note that everyone did get a free check-in for the 18th since I was out of the air chair, so don't worry about that. And if I get my SWL chart up here, we will get going. Yeah, 0 is in. Hello, radio, SWL 1. Okay, they're working now. Sometimes it has to warm up. I think we have a tube computer here. Mr. Dr. J, OBP, who is out over on the video side. If you want to say hello to Kevin, go to the video. And what is going on? The A index was up to 62 earlier. I think it's down to 20. I hear rumors that we will be having some aurora borealis sinking down into the very southern portions of the United States. So that means the sun is certainly active, as you can hear tonight. Got some good audio. Showdown's got some good audio. Well, Motormouth Mall was coming in on the back scatter from Santa Maria, about 100 miles away earlier, so the stations are out there hot and heavy. We will check in SWL number 3, Mr. Lone Eagle, and look for SWL 5, Rainmaker. And Levon is in. Well, Levon, we got you checked in. Let's try SWL 7.
Blue Thunder. And that's a real good copy for coming from...
I think Ed is probably away from the air chair. I will give him a proxy check-in, but no doubt he will be possibly joining us right at the end of the net when he comes back from his item of interest. Chrissy, thanks for the recipe from weeks ago. And I make sure I check in everybody in the right spot here. You are sounding good. I did get Dwayne in as SWL 30, so thanks for joining us tonight. Let's go to SWL 11. That is Mr. Cornbread, who is out and about on the various frequencies tonight, accompanied by none other than Dapper Dan, who is, as always, looking dapper. I'm doing pretty good tonight. It's sort of like, am I ready for my close-up? I think so. So thanks for joining us. And the pocket protector is ready. We have a pen. We have a pen tonight. They're saying check the tie. Okay, that's as dapper as it gets around here. So 11 and 12 checked in. Thanks for joining us on your Old Tube Radio Network tonight.
Voice out there. I know it's you out there.
And I heard that echo test server. I'm going to try this. I'm going to. How do I get rid of the echo test server? It won't let me disconnect. Or I will have to go to... Oh, wait a minute. I know how to do this. We go to disconnect. We go to that, and we go OK. There it is. All right. Aaron, 52, is my... he's the IT guy here at the Old Tube Radio Network. So he has ways of talking into my ear here where... they're holding the cards out there, but he has a way of talking to my ear and letting me know that you screwed up again. All right, so all is good now. SWL 13, hello, Mr. Cobra. I will look for you at oldtuberadio.net.
Bullet on the ground plane, bullet showdown, so you working that ground.
Good audio. I have to refresh my oldtuberadio.net page and make sure that everyone who needs to check in will be checking in. I see some of you there. Good to know that the rain, the wind and snow, the rain and snow has not messed you up. Let's go to an SWL 14. If I can hear Sanger, I will be surprised right now.
Breaker, radio check. How's everybody doing tonight? Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm hearing the mini grass. I'm hearing Down Under. I'm hearing the radio check from Fresno. You're sounding good, but I'm not hearing Sangertown. Don't go away, Sean. Wait for that opportune moment in between all the cacophony, and we will get you checked in. And I hear you, 53, Mr. Belair. I will get you checked in. Also on the early check-in was 650 that we will also get. So, Mr. Belair, we've got you over. And it gets crazy out there. The what's the S meter at?
Hippopotamus, big old mouth, man. He's a Candigan mole.
Yeah, S9, just like the locals. Let's go to shortwave listener 16. Now, these guys I can always hear when they have their front row seat. And it is a good thing. Good to have you back, Charlie. We were using the cardboard standee for the last couple of weeks, which was working quite well, but you do it much better. So thanks for joining us. Over to SWL 17. SWL 18, Mr. KDA checking in via Facebook. Over to SWL 19, and I'm going to say who turned on the skip switch tonight. As always, Chet is right here with the cue cards tonight, and they say sometimes he says you're on your own. When Skipland is here, it's hard to know what to do, but at least during roll call I can get the numbers correct. Thanks for checking in tonight from beautiful Derby, New York, or somewhere near there. Let's go to SWL 20. Hello, Harvey, if you're around. He probably wanted me to give him a proxy check-in from wherever he's at, and I will do that. And if he's napping, then I'll take it away and we'll get a real check-in. Let's see. Just reading some of the comments here. Yeah, I missed everybody last week too. Like I said, I was at a radio function, so I was still doing the radio stuff, but somebody else was doing the heavy lifting. So it was nice taking the night off. All right, we're going to try a coast-to-coast hookup here. Let me grab the proper mode of operation. And I think, yeah, I can see that I'm on. So I'm waving my hand to see how much delay we have going on, because that is also an issue with the delay. But we're going to SWL 21. That is Mr. JT, who was live and direct on the old radio night. So some of you may be listening to ORN. Some of you may be also simultaneously at the same time listening to the old Tube Radio Network. I'm going to bring up the audio, which is always a challenge because I'm going to hear myself for a bit. And then I'm going to say, when you hear me there, 21, go ahead and check in. I'm going to bring up the audio. So stand by. Here we go. All right, we're going to try a coast-to-coast. Oh, man, we are on a super delay. Let me go to the video. I think, yeah, I can see that I'm on, so I'm waving my hand to see. Where's the video here? There it is. Okay, there's the video.
Test.
Going to SWL 21. That is Mr. JT, who was live. There's the video from long ago. Old radio night. So some of you may be listening to ORN. Some of you may be also simultaneously at the same time listening. And so as soon as I travel around the earth a couple of times, we're going to get a check-in from Mr. JT21. Here we go.
Yeah. Hello.
I'm going to say, when you hear me there, 21, go ahead and check in. I'm going to bring up the audio, so stand by. Here we go. All right, we're going to try coast-to-coast. Oh, man, we are on a super delay. Let me go to the video. All right, 21 is there, but what you're seeing if you're watching the video is his his live audio beaconing through his live audio. It's like it's looking into a mirror. All right, 21 is checked in. Old radio night from the Wasama swamps of South Carolina. When you hear this, JT, Mr. 21, you are checked in. It may be tomorrow by the time it loops around, but...
All right, this is SWL 21. SWL 21 saying hello to everybody out there in Fresno, California, and all the SWLs. I'm going to stand by and let UDX 183, Jed, sign in over the radio through my audio. Here you go. Go ahead there, 183.
Hey, 183, Jed, Charleston, South Carolina, about 20 miles north. Good to get in there and talk to y'all. Been wanting to do this for a while. Everybody, enjoy yourself. Jed, 183, Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, that's Jed. All right, we standing by. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, thanks so much. I'll take the audio down from Old Radio Night, but a live check-in from 21 himself, and 183 as well. So good stuff. Electronics does work. It's sort of like flying a kite. You never know if it's going to crash. All right, thank you, 21, 183. And let's see, we're going to go over to the Echo Link, so stand by. And then maybe a question, because I can actually hear you. So over to the Echo Link we go, and what I have to do is go ahead and actually see. I have not tried out the Echo Link with the exception of the echo test tonight. So, and there seems to be a big delay running. So what we're looking for is SWL22, KL5TW. Hello, Tyler from KB6GFD, over. And we're going to get Tyler on the Echo Link from Anchorage.
Everybody in the group, hope everybody's having a good evening, good weekend. Yeah, a lot of skip rolling out there. And I'm sitting here, we're playing around with an old Messenger 223 that we picked up. Somebody donated to the American Legion, so I'm sitting here retubing it and recapping it, and hopefully get her back on the air here soon. She's in pretty good condition. Anyway, looking classy as usual, Dennis. Sounding good, looking good. Back to you.
All right, thanks. Good copy on the Echo Link. The audio is good, not too much delay, and thanks. We try harder here on the West Coast. Yeah, lots of skip. Got you checked in. If it heads your way, give us a call if you can hear Net Control or any of the stations down here in the Central Valley. Thanks for checking in. 73 KB6GFD. The band is still rocking and rolling on the skip side. Let me get back to the video here. 23 Skidoo is also out. He was polishing the satellite dishes. I've got to update my check-in status here. 21 did check in. 22 did check in. And 23 online right now, or checking with us now. He was polishing the satellite dishes, and I think he put in a little too much wax, and all the signalers are sort of going into the dish and going back out. That's why we're having so much skip going on right now. Also mentioned about the 1200 megahertz pocket protector. I do believe. This is what you're referring to. We have the special cellular pen, the 800, 1200 megahertz. I'm not sure what frequency it is, but if I start feeling a little warm and get that tickle, we'll know that it's probably receiving quite well. Thanks, Mitch, for checking in. Let's go to SWL 24. And I have a check-in for Joseph. How about SWL 25? And it is noisy, so if you are not hearing me or you need to come in later, that is perfectly fine. We will certainly get you checked in. Let's go to SWL 27. All right, let's take, since we've turned the page, let's take this time out. There was a question. If you can hear me, question, go ahead.
I think it was that messenger side yet. Is there any radio show?
Okay, I actually only heard a little bit of that. So we might try again when it gets quiet. There was another station in there as well that I almost heard. So it's a bit of a challenge tonight. What I want to do is acknowledge a couple of stations that need to get checked in, and I see Dennis is wanting to get checked in, and we will do that. See our Squamish boys from up there in Squamish. And I have something for you guys tonight. There is an SDR up your way that I might be, I don't know if you guys can get on 11 meters a little bit later, but I might be able to tune into the SDR up your way and see if we can actually hear you on channel 11 if you've got some radio. So keep that in mind, Albert and the gang. And our local question, we will get back to that when we're in a gray line. The sun is going down, so I expect the skip to be heading out of here shortly. I'll continue with the roll call, but we'll be back shortly. SWL 27 I did not hear, and calling for SWL 28. Who might, yeah, Gary's in there. And I know some of you have checked in already on the various chat windows, and I'll go through those at some point and make sure that I get everybody that needs to get checked. Oh, there he is. All right, and let me go. Now I'm hearing voices. I was hearing voices in my other ear, and sometimes it's hard to know whether it's over here, over there, over there. But now I figured it out. And 27, I will get you checked in. KB6 GFD. Try it again, over.
7's checking in via the Quiet FM crossband. KI6QL.
Yeah, my fault. I had the volume not set properly for the crossband, but you're sounding fine, and we're doing a nice skip-free check-in here. Thanks for stopping by the Old Tube Radio Network.
Great. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, KB6 GFD. All right, we got 27 on the crossband, and we've got another one. Let me try one more here. K6 USY, KB6 GFD. See, okay, there's 61.
Later during Echo Engine, just making sure I have another path in.
All right, 61. I hear you. 61. I've got you checked in. Over. All right, so Dino, Copenhagen is checked in. 61 is checked in. This is sort of like a contest free-for-all. You grab them when you can get them.
Great, Colonel.
And the... yeah, 61, you're good. You're good, Copenhagen. I got you. 61 on the brake channel. I think that's 64. Go ahead. Anyway, brake channel, go ahead.
Hey, Dennis, I got a question for you.
This is the question frequency. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I broke my antenna today, and it's about 3 inches off, so I put it back. How do I sound? And my SWRs is way high.
You sound good. You could have a little bit of reflected power, making it your signal not as good as it should be. The issue with the high SWR, if it's more than about 1.5 to 1, then you've got to make sure that you're not putting enough reflected power into the radio to damage something. Some radios will actually shut the power down as they see a higher match. So it doesn't sound like that's happening, though.
Okay, and the other question is where do I get the whip for a Striker magnet mount antenna?
Okay, and I'll put that out to anybody listening, looking for the whip to a Striker magnet mount antenna, if they actually sell those separately, or if it's a standard size wire element that you might be able to say, well, I can get this gauge of wire and it needs to be 42 inches or 46 inches and it has to be inserted so far down into the mag mount to work properly. So I don't have an answer for that, but somebody might.
Okay, this is 777. My name's Jimmy here in Fresno.
All right, Jimmy, you're still sounding good. Sometimes you can, if it's just wire, you might be able to connect another 3 inches to the top of that, or solder something on, just so it can electrically, and physically see that extra 3 inches of wire that the coil needs to resonate properly on the frequency where you are at. And yeah, don't try going to Radio Shack. You probably won't find one there.
10-4.
All right, directed net roll call is where we are at, the Old Tube Radio Network. Slogging our way through the roll call, taking the check-ins as we can get them, and as you can hear locally and where you're listening, we are still getting some skip here, even as the sun is down on the gray line. Some interesting sun items going on to cause that. We've got a proxy check-in for SWL29, SWL30 checking in as 00, of course checking in as SWL30 as well. Let's go to SWL31, SWL32, SWL33. That would be everybody here at the Old Tube Radio Network corral. Bozo Control honking the proboscis as well. And Larry, an SR-A10 Trucker CB antenna replacement whip, 49 inches. All right. 777, I don't know if you have internet capability, but if you can search for the Trucker CB antenna replacement whip at 49 inches, which probably sounds about right for a loaded antenna. Google that. You might be able to find the whip that will be close enough to go in. Could be trimmed if it's longer. Shorter is not a good thing. You know, that old saying, no matter how many times I cut that board, it was still too short. You don't want that. But longer is okay. And then you can match the length you had plus the 3 inches. So give that a shot. Look for the SR-A10 Trucker CB antenna replacement whip. Back to the roll call. A station that is never caught off guard, whether it's the whip antenna, the shockwave, the 16-element lightning antenna on the roof, or whether he's, out at the railroad tracks waiting for the steam locomotives to go by. Hello, Jimmy. Good to see you and hear you on the frequency tonight, along with Captain Chaos and the gang out there. Thanks for keeping all of those great Facebook pages alive and well, promoting CB activity, among other things, and right here tonight, live and direct on the Old Tube Radio Network. 34 is checked in. And the skip is starting to fade out, but it's not quite gone yet. SWL35, Mr. Bill from Red Monkey Communications is in tonight, checking in from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we've got an X in the square. We had sunny skies today, Bill, but cold weather, a lot of wind. It's chilly for us. You know, it's the end of March, and it's can't even make 60 degrees sometimes, and we've got more rain expected. So thanks for joining us tonight. As always, let's go to SWL36. SWL37.
SWL37 here, Denison. Good evening.
All right, good evening. I hope you can hear me through the noise. It's sort of calming down a little bit, but you sound fine over.
Oh, you're sounding good over here, no problem. I got you in here, coming right over top of anything. Actually, it's kind of dropped down on me on the DX. My antenna's so low, it lets you hear bee farts flying across.
Yeah, you and me both. All right, sounding good. I'm starting to hear static, meaning that the skip is dying out and going away. All right, thanks for checking in.
And thank you for letting me.
It is my pleasure. It's my job. They will. The more check-ins I get, the better it makes me look for the front office.
Well, they ought to give you a big check.
All right. Well, I get a lot of check-ins too on the video site. Let's see if Sam is out there. SWL38. Hey, And I know that guy. Hello, break for OTR. Go ahead.
24, checking in.
All right. I wasn't sure if I heard you in earlier because there was a lot of noise, but I'm hearing you now. We got you checked in, sounding good. See how much delay we've got on the bands tonight. SWL 39. SWL 40. You know, I thought I heard you earlier on the air, but maybe I was wrong. But checking in from the basement tonight, SWL 785 is in, sounding good. Road Dog 507, SWL 41 is in tonight. Of course, from the Hudson Valley area in New York, saying good evening to everyone. The Southern New York State REACT Council. It's good to know REACT is still up and running somewhere. They did a very good job in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, keeping things going. I don't know. There's not a lot of national REACT activity going on these days. I know there's not a lot of, you don't see as many co-phase whips on the mirror mounts of trucks going down the interstate, but that REACT is still necessary. What they do is definitely still necessary out there, so it's good to know. Hi, Gary, checking in, 28. He's having popcorn and Barks root beer on ice. the root beer, that is. And say, I'm on. Yeah, I'm definitely on. I'm going to see if I can get through roll call here and check in a couple of radios. Thanks, Gary, for checking in. Let's go to SWL 42. SWL 43, and I did get 650 as well on the proxy check-in, early check-in. SWL 44, Ray was sounding good on sideband and FM last night on the Ditch Banks sideband net, so I'm going to get him checked in as well. Let's go up the hill to SWL 45. Hello, Paul. I think it's still a little bit too noisy to be heard up on the hill, but I will try again a little bit later. SWL 46. Is there a breaking station?
195, trying to check in.
Hey, let's do it now. You actually are sounding good through the noise. 195. I'm back in the air chair. You're back in the air chair. You are checked in, sir. Yeah, 195 is checked in. Hello, Jim. I've got you checked in. Over. All right, we're starting to be heard up in the hills. All right, here's a check-in, and maybe we can evaluate, reissue the question. SWL 47.
Good evening, OTR, live from the radio patio. This is SWL 47, where we got the Coleman lanterns going. We got a nice fire in the fire pit, and the chicken parm is coming outside where it's nice and cool, but quite nice. Good evening from the radio patio, 47.
All right, sounding good. Nice audio, and the band is a little bit quieter. I don't think I answered all your questions from earlier. Was there another question that I could try and get an answer to? Over.
There was a Johnson Messenger that had really great audio, and I was wondering as to what the location was of 21.
All right, interesting questions. First off, 22, location via Echolink up there in Anchorage, Alaska. So Tyler has acquired his Messenger 223, I believe, and will be getting it on the air. Tyler is one of the stations that we have actually spoken with live and direct from Anchorage before. So if there's anybody that can get that 223 up and running and maybe beacon it down to the Central Valley, it would be 22. But you were hearing him through Echolink. Unlike the station 21, Mr. JT, who is also running his live internet program from the Wasama Swamps of South Carolina called Old Radio Night. Tune it in, won't you, on YouTube. And so we were doing a live check-in between his program from the East Coast, our program, our net from the West Coast, and then sort of fighting the delay between both of those. Over.
Okay, got it. Well, it was absolutely spectacular and made for a good radio. So thanks for the answers. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it gets a bit confusing. He also does a video. He features not only tube radios, but classic transistor radios as well. He's got a great station, a great antenna, and often is talking to stations all over the universe, unlike here on the Old Tube Radio Network, where sometimes stations 3 miles away have difficulty checking in. But I am studying to be more like Mr. JT, and at some point I will have some DX contacts as well. Okay, thanks for checking in.
Thank you, sir.
This is the Old Tube Radio Network from Central California. We're doing the roll call for the shortwave listeners. Coming up, the Tube Radio Check-ins, hence the name Old Tube Radio Network, hence the fact that you will hear some of the sounds of the real radios back in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s that were the radios that you could only get for your 11-meter pleasure. Our tube radio operators are gracious enough to share them with us on a Saturday evening, and we are looking forward to that. And we are asking to see if we've got SWL 48. SWL 49.
Hello, Dennis. Mr. Smitty, the 49er, checking in Mobile. We're going to wave a hand for Sweet Country Mama, and we'll wave our hand to all directly to see all who are out there tonight. So check in. You guys all have a great one.
All right, so yeah, still good for the mobile. I think I heard you earlier. You might have been closer or something, and the signal was good. It's still good coming through the skip. And Smitty, Sweet Country Mama, the X in the square, thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we're out way past Sunnyside, so glad to hear we're making the trip here next to the woods. Thanks again, Dennis. You guys have a great one.
All right, yeah, the band is quieting down just a bit as we go away from our gray line, and whatever is happening is going to happen. Could be some very southerly Aurora Borealis. Is there a plural of that? Aurora Boreali? I don't know. Happening here in the next couple of days, so it'll be interesting to see what happens on the bands. Let's go up to SWL 50.
50 checking in, both barrels.
Wow, I was going to say, this came in there like you could actually hear me. I can hear you just fine. We got you checked in.
Copy that.
All right. Well, let's try Sangertown. This will be a stretch, but we'll see. SWL 51.
Cut you there. I'm around. 5-1 checking in.
All right. All of a sudden, the band is good. The band is good. SWL 51. Sangertown sounding good.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. There's a lot of skip coming in, but it's kind of dying out right now. I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it in, but I hear you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let me call, if that's the case, let me call SWL 14 and see if Sean is out there.
Yeah, I'm out here. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
No, you're coming in fine. You're coming in fine. I don't have that S9 noise level anymore. Over.
Excellent. Well, yeah, go ahead and check me in, SWL 14.
All right, you are sounding good. Putting the X in the square, I'll get 51 and 14. So thanks for being patient. I figured at some point we would get our local conditions back. Thanks. Okay, speaking of local conditions, let me figure out my local conditions, and we will try SWL 52 on the Echo Link KB6GFD.
Yeah, good evening, Dennis, and to all the SWLs at sea. From behind the golden microphone, SWL 52.
All right, and thanks for the heads up on the connection status. I looked on the little chart and it was certainly there, and then I remembered how to get rid of Echolink. Or not Echolink, but the Echo Test. server, and I'm thinking that doesn't mess anything up, but it's just an extra connection that I don't need to have, so that I can have more of the real SWL flavor. All right, you are sounding good. Thanks for checking in. KB6 GFD.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, if you left the echo test connected, everything we say would be repeated, so that's not a lot of fun. Well, I'll catch you later.
All right, yeah, sort of a parrot mode of operation. SWL 53, Mr. Belair checked in earlier.
Okay, 6 USY.
Moments ago. Also get a check-in for SWL 54 and see if SWL 55 is out there.
55 checking in, Dennis.
Wow, the stations all around are coming good now that the skip is gone. I've got you in M&M sounding good.
Thank you. Can I also have proxy 65, please?
65, we'll do that right now for Eric. Got it.
Thank you.
It's amazing. The band opens up. Well, the band is opened up. The band is always there. It's just you've got this layer of noise that makes things difficult. Let's go a little closer to net control here, down the road to the west a little bit. SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
You are sounding good as always. I will get you checked in. And yeah, since the nice thing about this net is since we don't go alphabetically by call, like every other net you do, you don't have to be there right at the beginning, unless you're 00, and that could happen.
It has.
That's right, but see, that's why you're always good at that, because you have practice at being called at the beginning. All right, thank you, 56. Let's go to SWL 57 out of Central Kentucky. Mr. Brown Dog Audio checking in. She celebrated Mama Brown Dog's birthday this evening. Well, happy birthday to you, indeed. Baby back ribs, spare ribs, home-style fried potatoes, homemade barbecue sauce, and of course a strawberry poke cake. And you know, you can't get a good poke cake here on the West Coast, but if you go out to Central Kentucky, maybe you can get a poke cake along with your poke salad. Sounding good. Happy birthday to Mama Brown Dog, and it sounds like a good time was had by all, and as they say, no candles were requested, and I think that is a very smart way to do it. Thanks for checking in. All right, directed net roll call. Let me get back to my page and hit the right buttons. We are looking for SWL 58. And I'll give 58 a proxy. There was rumors that Jeremy might be in town at some point, so I'm sure if he was around and or by the radio, he would be certainly checking in. Probably going to do some testing, some tweaking and peeking on various items of interest, and I'll be looking forward to the report when we get it. SWL 59, Uncle Hairball is in. He was over on Old Radio Night, over here on the Old Tube Radio Network, and looking good right now for UDX 786. Thank you, sir. And let's see, they're saying check your output on the REA. So let me do that. All right, this is the REA meter. If you're looking at that, that shows my positive and negative peaks. It shows the percentage of positive modulation. You want that to not be below 0. So it looks like occasionally I'm doing okay. No flat topping. The phase rotators are in. So I'll take that as a possible item. Also, checking on the, and this is the other item we use, the Orban REA meter, where I try to keep most of the levels between, say, -21 and minus 14 on the LKFS meters. For those people who are listening online specifically, you don't get those big variations in sound quality, although I think by the time it gets to YouTube and any other streaming thing, there's a lot of compression going on. But just in case, I want to let you know that the Old Tube Radio Network is trying to give you the best audio possible so that when our tube radios come up, you will hear exactly what we are hearing here at the control point. SWL60, hello, Joe.
Hello, Dennis. Doggone it, boys. It looks like it's calmed down a little bit. I thought for a minute there I wasn't going to be able to get to you. SWL60, Dennis, checking in and evening time to all the fellas.
Yeah, good evening time. Noise level is down, hearing you just fine. Thanks for any relays that you do, and we got you checked in. If you're around a little bit later, we'll be getting you checked in on some radios. That's coming up.
Hopefully, we got them warming up. Okay, Dennis, thanks.
All right, SWL61, Mr. Copenhagen checking in through the skip. I did get him with no problem. SWL62, Mr. King Duckford. SWL63. Got to check in for Mr. Butterbean out of North Georgia. SWL64, I know Craig is out there. Listening in from Wisconsin, I believe it is. Thank you, 64. Got you checked in. There's a big contest going on amateur radio. Been hearing a lot of stations from your area on 20 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters. Big openings today on the, I guess it's CQ Worldwide DX contest. Always making the ether alive with some good RF. SWL65, we got a check-in for Eric. SWL66. SWL67. And a proxy in for Bill, still having some internet problems. SWL68. Ask for an early check-in, so I will do that. Shortwave Lister 69, Kenny, I've got you checked in. I'll have to go through the list here, see if you were in earlier, like you often are, for a check-in, but you are checked in now if you're watching the video. Hello, radio. Over to SWL70. And let me take a moment or three. Refresh the comments, but see who's out there listening. Who's local? Robert. Butcher Robert from Fresno checking in. I see you there. Maniac 207 from Seattle. Loving the tubes. We do too, and there are going to be some, I guarantee, some of the classic tube radios with the great audio checking in after the roll call here in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned for that. UDX 483, hello, Mud Bucket, thanks for joining us. UDX 183 as well. As 2W2600, Yank saying hello. 390 Wagon Master also saying hello. Thanks for joining us. A lot of stations jumping in from old radio night. We appreciate that. Alpha Kilo 295. Haven't heard you in a while, but good that you are on with us tonight and looking good here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Who else is joining us tonight via the video side? Always glad to have those stations. This is the live. Charlie Hustle 55 on the live feed. Plumber guy. Montgomery Boards is out of him. Yeah, don't go to Montgomery Boards looking for those parts that you thought you could find at Radio Shack. Cowboy in the Hog Yard. Looking good. Thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Mark in the Mud Bucket Bouquet. Thank you, Mark, joining us tonight. and a host of others. Dennis, that's right, SWL 96, I will get you checked in. Neutral observation on the coast. Can you hear John Motormouth Mall? We were hearing him direct a couple hours ago. He sounded terrible because it was coming in on some type of backscatter. But we were hearing the guys talking to Motormouth Mall, and we were actually hearing Motormouth Mall on the big antenna and the backscatter coming in. Hemorrhoid is in. K. Christopher, thank you for joining us tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. 455 out of New York. There was also a station, and I don't see him in there, but he was joining us from the Netherlands, I think, where he said it was 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. 007 Extreme CB, thank you for joining us. Tracy 98, I see you. I will get you checked in. And OBP is still there. Odyssey is in. Hello, Odyssey. Thanks for joining us tonight. Sean is in. Yeah, it is definitely crazy, but we did get you checked in. It's Hans. That's it. I think joining us, and it would be a hop for me to catch you on 10 meters. The East Coast guys, no problem, but it's I don't know if I have a good enough station to get into Copenhagen, but maybe I will. Maybe we'll catch you. So thanks for joining us. Hans. All right, I will stop talking. We'll get back to the roll call here. Let me call SWL 70 again. SWL 71. Stan may be running the contest. He may be doing the CQ Worldwide, and it's good conditions. So I don't know if he's up into the four. Some of the stations were already up into 4 digits of contacts. In fact, I heard some of them last night. They're up in the thousands. I bet there's some stations that are up in the 2,000 contacts, but they're going good. The band is in good shape, so I will get Stan out there in Dallas, Georgia, checked in. And when you stop by, I'll make sure that you get the check-in. Let's go to SWL 72. SWL 73. I'll get 73 checked in because I know he is working the contest as well. Probably doing the CW portion. SWL 74. Shortwave listener 75. SWL 77. From wild and probably windy, if it's anything like it is here in Central California tonight, SWL 78 out there in wild Wildemar. SWL 79. And I got to see if I can call up. We'll do it later, but the SDR up there in Squamish, and I tried it the other night. It does go to 11 meters. Sometimes those SDRs don't have the greatest receive up there, but if you're close to it, we might hear you on channel 11. Let's go to SWL 80. And they're saying, don't forget Bob and Steve are waiting to go. So, all right, with that in mind, let's see what is going on tonight. We missed them last week, and there's, as always, just because I may not be in the air chair, we're still talking on our radios and checking things in, and there's still a lot of stuff happening here at the Old Tube Radio Network, QTH.
27.085 OTR, channel 11.
Whoopee, now that was loud. What is going on tonight, episode 160 on the Old Tube Radio Network for March 25th, 2023. Bob and Steve Saturday night is just not the same without the great host on OTR. Well, I did leave the audio stream up so that you could hear the activity. You could hear the radios checking in. I didn't put the video up because it would have been 5 hours and it would be a big long stream, so I didn't do that. But I may find some trickery to do that if I have to step out again. So thank you for the welcome back. The police got a tip on the person who put the St. Patrick's green hat on Sue. No more green beer for that person. You know what they did? They lined everybody up, and like they do with those lineups, and they made them stick out their tongue. And of course, there was somebody that had that green tongue from the green beer. That is always the telltale sign. The Jingle Singers found a Browning Golden Eagle with a VFO, Browning amplifier, and a gold D104, the Golden Eagle D104. It's set up at the lounge. Always, it's like the radio of the week down there. So take your pictures. You know, you can pose. There's no charge. You can pose next to the featured radios down in the lounge. And just don't say they're yours, though. They don't like that. The policemen have put together a fish fry in the green room lounge all day today. I was smelling something. It must have been fish. Please join us. Drinks are on Bob and Steve. And thank you, Bob and Steve. We enjoy all that you do. The Big Red Limo has been running a lot of errands this weekend. And I don't know. I don't see the lights. I think it's still out there having a good time, so join us, won't you? Thanks, guys.
27.085 OTR, Channel 11.
OTR back in a moment. It's nice to have that quiet frequency. Should be able to hear everybody now. Let's go to SWL 81. SWL 82. I'll get Ron checked in. Had a good net last night on the Ditch Banks sideband net, 27,365, 36 lower sideband, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And after the net, they've been doing testing out the FM mode, which is quite interesting. So a lot of us getting on FM as well up there. Let's go to SWL 83. Shortwave listener 84. Late check-in for 82 somewhere out there. Can you hear me? Over.
Yeah, Samson, a problem. Haven't answered a problem. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, well, I hear you, and yeah, I don't think I would hear if the skip was in, but you're about an S5, so you're making it. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
All right, good thing that didn't crop up last night, because you were a good S9 plus on sideband and FM. We're going to get 84, 86, 87, and 88 checked in. That is Cheerios Kid. And, of course, the ladies out there in the Radio Shack, Mountain Maid Tandy Girl and the Snowy Owl. I do believe the radio... Let me turn it on. The radio in the back is from Mountain Maid's collection. The E.F. Johnson... I'm looking for the mouse. The mouse fell on the floor. The E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. In my zeal to turn on a tube radio, I'm wrecking the Radio Shack here. Okay, got those. Got them all checked in. You just have too much fun when you're checking in the radios. SWL 89. SWL 90. SWL 91. Felix was in early, as always. Saying hello, radio. Let me get back to the proper screen here. And, of course, Felix waving a hand. Tip of the hat. He does there. He waves a hand, tips a hat, adjusts the antenna for all the listeners, the tube radio operators, and anybody else that may be joining us from near and far out, from live and not so live here on the old Tube Radio Network. SWL 92, SWL 93, SWL 95, coming in, of course, from beautiful Orlando, checking in. Warthog 95, thank you for joining us. Everybody staying up late for the old Tube Radio Network. SWL 96, Dennis Prune Picker, sounding good on the Ditch Banks last night and checking in early here tonight due to the request. And SWL 20. You're a wise guy, sir. That's Mr. JT saying, requesting the Chocolates and Vinegar. That's an old record that I found in my way back in my collection from, what was it, 1975 or 76. It's one of those, I think they call it a novelty song, like a Ringo or what is it, Big Bad Bruce, or They're Coming to Take Me Away. It's one of those novelty songs that it probably, I think it had like a 14 and a half minute airplay, 14 and a half minutes of fame way back in the day. And somehow it has remade itself onto the internet to promote embarrassment all the way around. Anyway, thanks 21 for the thought on those two crazy clowns from Fresno, Chuckles and Vinegar. SWL 97, Boston 97. I think I saw Boston on my scope over there, and indeed, Jim is checking in right now. SWL 98, Tracy, I saw your item of interest on the chat. We'll get you checked in. I didn't hear you last night on the net, but maybe I wasn't listening, and I'm not sure if I heard you on the Wednesday net. Maybe I wasn't listening. SWL 99, that's Radio Randy. Is he on Echolink? No. Is he listening? No, but he was sounding good tonight this afternoon from his QTH in Arizona. On the big radio, Randy, one of the crew at 7199 doing the extended ESSB Voodoo audio. So once you get the microphone technique down and you don't overmodulate the radio and you've got everything perfect, the next step is to try, especially on sideband, try enhancing your bandwidth, doing a little bit of high fidelity with compressors, limiters, equalizers, and it really sounds pretty cool up there on 7.199 megahertz here on the West Coast. There's a really great group of pioneers that are putting the West Coast on the map for extended ESSB audio, and it's sounding pretty darn good. I'm trying to get my hand in on that. I still don't quite get the hang of it, but it's fun to do. All right, let's try, and I think Tony is there. Let me fire up. Let me fire up the Echolink link because there is a bit of a delay, and we will head on over to. Where are we heading? We're heading over to McClellanville, South Carolina. KB6 GFD listening.
Good evening, Dennis. Please check in SWL 100. Back to net control, KD4 BAO.
All right, thanks, Tony. You are sounding good on the Echolink. We will get you checked in. Hopefully you're not getting too much wacky weather. And Tony, like a lot of our stations, are awaiting the tube radios, and they are coming up. All right, 73, thanks, KB6 GFD. Sounding good from McClellanville, South Carolina. Let's go to Arkansas, SWL 102. John is right there in the check-in window, so I will get you officially checked in and hope the cat is doing well. Insane Kitty Theater was on the other side of the door. But we did make sure that she got some scritching and scratching and a few treats so that there wouldn't be too much anger when I walk out the door a couple hours later. And it's like, where were you? Kitty's got a new toy, one of those little squeaky things that it squeaks no matter where it is or what it is. It's got an internal battery. So at 4:30 in the morning, it's like, I hear the squeaky toy down at the end of the hall. Those kitties, they never sleep. Let's go to SWL 103. You know, half of the fun is trying to get my mouse to work. SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Crawdad 109 checking in.
109, sounding good. The skip switch is off, but the local switch is working okay. Thanks for checking in. I do have a little bit of static tonight, but it's down at S3. I can handle that. SWL 111. I'm checking to see if Robert checked in. Sometimes when it's Skippy, he will check in on one of the various venues. Speaking of the various venues, with us tonight on the .net, up in the balcony, Germantown, Wisconsin. I see up there the unknown SWLs, Inez, Kentucky, Squamish, BC. BC boys, right in their spot. There's like the balcony, then you go down a couple of levels, and there's like that mezzanine thing. They're always kind of set up on that ledge. And they behave. They don't throw stuff. Sometimes they do. They don't throw stuff down at me. Who else? Fairfax, Virginia. Woodland Park, Colorado. With the beams. Man, how is the snow up there? What is the lowest part of Colorado? Is like 4,000 feet, something like that. Am I correct? Is that the low part? So are you getting inundated with record snow up there? You have to occasionally go and rock the Roan 45 and get the snow to fall off the DB36. Copenhagen still listening in. It is still Saturday night here on the west coast of California. The old Tube Radio Network tubes are coming, I promise. Stations from Fresno, and of course, right here in front of Belfast, Maine, and Van Man. I don't know. Van Man's got the specialty. He knows the guy with the keys. All right. Continuing on, let's go to SWL 110. I think I forgot to call 5150. Let's go over to SWL 113. Shortwave listener 114.
114, starting in.
Sounding good, Wayne. You lucked out. The skip is gone by the time I called you. Although your station is strong enough, I think I would have heard you through the skip no matter what. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you for the check-in, Dennis.
Shortwave listener 128. A shortwave listener from long ago. And shortwave listener right here today. On the old Tube Radio Network, John is checking in with an X in the square. Let's try, let's see, the Clovis, John, SWL 131. Dave out there in northwest Fresno, SWL 133. 133 checking in. Sounding good, sir. I've got an X in the square. Just checking my noise blanker to see if I can get rid of that noise, and it does not roll it away. SWL 135.
Hello there, SWL 135, checking in if this thing is working.
Yeah, it's sounding great. So I think it's glowing in the dark, and we will hear more in moments. SWL 137. SWL 145. I'm getting Tony checked in, and let me check my email. Tony is very good about updating me and keeping me in the loop about what is happening. And Tony says there is free technician testing by going to w6bw.org. So this would be for stations here in Central California. Whiskey 6 Bravo Whiskey, w6bw.org, and says click on activities for details for some local testing info coming up. I don't know exactly where, when, and where. Well, we can check that out. But if you want to check it out now, and you're here locally and you are wanting to upgrade or get into the license, w6bw.org. Thanks, Tony, for that. I'm getting you checked in. Who's next? SWL 147. I did not see Neil, but I could have missed Neil, so I'm going to get him proxy checked in, and I will run back through the chat to see if and what he was doing. But sometimes I'll see his items pop in, and I will flag them as best I can. Oh my gosh, and birthdays tonight, and an anniversary for 10 and 30 tonight, and have an OTR in the background. So they've got the Martinellis in the fancy glasses, And then they've got OTR on in the background, and they are doing what they always do, is having a good time together. And we really appreciate having Chrissy, who takes time out at the keyboard, and it's not easy typing up all those recipes, but we appreciate that. And then Dwayne, who always manages, like to find that little hole in the DX to say, hey Fresno, I'm checking in with the S9 signals. So good deal. Anyway, happy anniversary, guys, and thanks for stopping by the OTR crew. We love you out there. Let's go to SWL. I did get a check-in for 147, and I'll see if Neil's got any other stuff. SWL 188. Hello, Bobby.
Good evening time, Dennis. Good evening time to all SWLs. 188 checking in.
All right, checking in, sounding good. I always kind of get behind on looking at the pictures, but I saw the new Endeavor out there, and I'm thinking, it's as long as the wind and rain and stuff isn't messing up the antenna, it should be working.
Well, I guess you'd be the one to tell me. This is the second time I've transmitted on it. It's giving me a little bit of havoc with the SWR, but I've got it okay right now, so I'm going to continue to play with it and see if we can't get it dialed all the way in right.
All right, we're not that, we're local. It's ground wave. It's definitely not line of sight, and we're not that close together, and you're at a good almost 10 over S9. The audio, of course, is excellent. And yeah, when you get to work on those beasts, sometimes the SWR gets a bit tricky between front to backs and side to side, and where you want the resonance to be and where it shows up where it actually is. But I don't hear anything bad, that's for sure. And as long as your radio's happy, that's half the battle.
Yes, sir. Our radio seems to be happy with it. I got the rig expert, and it's showing me the right numbers. It's just the wind sure seems to take a toll with fluctuating SWR, and I've never seen that before with a beam. So I don't know if the bounce around of the wires up there, the flexing of the spreaders, changing the spacing, whatnot on the antenna, something is changing the SWR, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it could be critical. I just got a Starduster, but their mounting is really awful on those. They sit on the pole, and if they're not tight, and I'm sure mine isn't, that moves around a little bit and wiggles, and it does. I noticed the same thing on mine, but you've got a lot more hardware up there, and it depending on the match. If a gamma match or a beta match or something is more susceptible to, like you said, moving around between element spacing and whether and a parasitic element that's 4 spaces back moving around makes any difference on the SWR or not. So yeah, I know what it is. You want it to be perfect, and it's one of those things that may look worse than it is when you go to the meter, and you might not. We on the receiving end might not see any difference on the signal at all. And as like I said, as long as the radio isn't balking or shutting down, then you're probably good. But I hear you. So hopefully, if you find the magic tweak and peak on it, you'll get to do it. Anyway, sounding good. Thanks for checking in.
10-4, evening time to you.
SWL 195, Jim up in Corscoll actually braved Skipland and made quite a decent check-in. I'm sure I'd hear him perfectly right now. So, Jim, if you're listening, we got you checked in. CB Lounge 2112, 2112, checking in. with Kelly Ripa. You know, when I worked at the TV station, we were an ABC affiliate. We're an ABC O&O, and Regis and Kelly back in the day were a Buena Vista. They were a sort of an ABC show. So we used to get the feed for Kelly and Regis and Gelman, and later, when Regis went away, we would get the feed at 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. here. That was the live feed at 9 o'clock out in New York, and then we would play it at 9 o'clock here. But that show was always a nail biter because it was what they called it a zero dB delay. It comes in at 9. You have to get it recorded. I think they had a 7 o'clock feed, but then you had to time it and make sure the brakes were in and then get it ready by 9 o'clock. And if the closed captionings were messed up, then you had a couple of hours for them to figure out how to get the closed captionings to work. But I do remember that 6 in the morning, Regis and Kelly show, and just biting your nails to make sure that it would come in, closed captions, and it would be good. There wasn't a problem, and you would get it turned around for 9 o'clock. Not like OTR, where we go live. It doesn't matter. If the closed captioning is working, we go anyway. And my mouse keeps going away. All right, I know you guys want the tube radios. It is that time. SWL 226. See, I'm playing with my microphone because they're saying when I do this, I have a mic shadow within my face. You say, what? It looks good? You like that? All right, well, no, I'll put that down. That's a problem. Do not add video to your radio audio. SWL 226. Any other stations that would like to check in now, I will listen for you before we go to the tube radios because I know it was a little bit rough at the beginning. So OTR is listening for a moment here for any SWL check-ins. Over. All right, I will be back in a moment. I'm going to set up for the tube radios, and we will have tube radios. I know there are a few out there. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight, your old tube radio network. It's great to be back in the air chair. Back in a moment.
Good night, Dennis. Not sure if he's still out there or not, but thanks for running that. Been a lot of years. Alpha Tango Whiskey.
All right, have a great evening. I'm just getting ready to go back on with the tube radios, KB6 GFD.
Oh, yep. Yep, Roger. We'll be listening. We're listening in, Dennis. And just so you know, I am Alpha Kilo 295 on the YouTube chat over there. I wasn't quite sure if you knew that or not, but anyway, that's me.
All right, someday I will have an ergonomically correct radio desk. And I'll be able to do this the right way. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Your old tired tube radio network. Here beaconing from Fresno, California. It is time for the Tube Radios, the best time right here, where we listen for, talk about, and recreate the sound and the demeanor of CB radio. For those of you who might not have been around way back when, and those of us who were, who may have not been able to afford the radios that we're listening to tonight, or we're affording them now. Anyway, let me sign in. For it is March 25th of 2023. Pocket Protect Your Pen. I'm going to make sure I get that going tonight. The sponsor is CBS HYTRON, Hytron, a division of Columbia Broadcasting Systems. Yeah, incorporated. And it's an example, or a sample Scripto pencil from CBS. So it must have been some promotional item, and I don't think there's any lead in the pencil. Can I show the CBS? Is the close-up cam fixed? No, it's no longer a close-up cam. It's way up there. All right, so let me go back to the camera here. CBS. You can see the CBS logo on a very nice Hytron mechanical pencil going in the pocket protector tonight. So somebody said, where's, Jimmy and Little Toot ran. I didn't do the whistle, the tragic train whistle such that it is. But we got it in there now. So, what's going on? I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to say it is your turn for Tube Radio's OTR's listening.
135, 135.
60.
Just listening, enjoying the nice, quiet frequency for locally. All right, Joe, step into the green room. We will call you in a moment. You are going to be Radio 2 on the list. And there are many things you can do, so be listening. Don't be late, be listening. However, stepping up into the air chair now at, gosh, it's 9:20 already. Where does the time go when you're having fun? Hello, Mr. Green Arrow, over.
Hello, Mr. OTR Control. This is SWL 135. On a radio, I'm not sure where these were manufactured, but for all the world, it looks like it was made by ECI. This is the, since I didn't get a chance to do this, last week, the extra super duper green radio. This is the Fanon Fanfare XM2300. Let's see, there are 11 tubes, but all 23 crystal controlled channels transmit and receive. And I'm on the, the Emerald D104. Back to you.
Boy, that's got some good audio, and I think that is a Fanon, as in Fanon Courier. And I apologize, for last week, that was our super green weekend, right? That was the St. Paddy's Day weekend, but we're still going. It's still March. I appreciate you hanging on to the green radio. This is, if there's a green, what do they call it? Kelly Green, this is it. Great audio. And when you come back, I'm going to do an adjustment on my receiver because I changed the RF gain. I may have messed some stuff up, but you're sounding good. Fanon Fanfare XM2300. I think I told the story. This is probably the radio that I didn't get. I ended up getting a Radio Shack Navajo instead of this one because I don't know why. They weren't that easy to get. You had to go somewhere to find them, but not at Radio Shack. But I'm glad you have yours. We are showing the picture. If you're looking at oldtuberadio.net or at the video, the radio you are seeing is the radio you will be hearing when I stop talking. Go ahead.
Okay. This is, I'm pretty sure, the greenest radio I have, probably one of the greenest radios ever. The case is a nice dark green. The front is two-tone green. And somewhere on the OTR Facebook page is a picture of this microphone. It is a dark green D104, custom done by the people at Red Monkey for me, I think. They did it in powder coat and everything. They really did a great job. And I'm glad it's working okay. Didn't know if I need to turn it up or anything like that. I haven't checked it in since last March, so I was kind of worried about it working at all. But if you say it's working, I believe you. I can't wait to hear the audio. I will have one more radio that is back from the dead, and I'm going to want to do some microphone testing with that later on, if you will indulge me and if there's time. But thanks for letting me check this one in.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. I just went to the Orban meter. You're perfect. I didn't have to adjust a thing. Your audio is good. And I'll have you take another transmission because I'll put up the S meter for your replay. Good audio. Reminds me, and I think it is a Courier. Reminds me of the audio that we get out of the Cam 88s. It's got the really good low note without mud. You know, the bass without the mud. It's got good articulation. Good all the way around. And so it doesn't take much. And you've got a good tube radio to, one, get it on the air, two, on Saturday evenings, and three, present it not only to our local contingent here, but to the entire universe, the old Tube Radio Network. So thank you. Thank you, Cliff. Take another transmission. I'll do a frequency check. I'll put up, what did I say I was going to do? I was going to... oh, yeah, I was going to do a frequency check and put on the other picture here. So go right ahead.
I think you said you were going to put up the S meter or something. Let me look here. Okay, I got 085 flickering to 0851.
So it should be really close to like right on frequency. What else was I going to say about it? Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate any kind of information on this at all. Like I say, to me, it looks an awful lot like an ECI radio. You know, the layout, the knobs, the case, everything just screams ECI. If you have a picture of like the Courier 23 or something, you'll notice it looks very much like that. But this one does, it's electronic keying. It's not, there's no snappy relay in there. So I'm not sure who or when or how it was made. I'm guessing late 60s. But yeah, if anybody knows, I'd really appreciate it, because I've not really been able to find out much of any information on this thing, other than, you know, the actual hands-on information of having one, if you know what I mean. Back to you.
Yeah, nice. I did a close-up. I see it's got that switchable SRF meter, which is always interesting. Electronic keying, meaning when you pull out the microphonium, away goes your receive audio, and then the switch on the side, which I thought might have been a range boost, it says it's CBPA. Jim out of Boston says he's confirming what we think. It's pretty sure that's a Courier 23 clone. He agrees with us that definitely some good audio. We're definitely getting some good reports on the audio. And I went to my Rolodex, and all it says is Fanfare XM 2300. There's no fine print going on. But definitely sounds good, and it's a good S9 Plus signal. And you've got, Chrissy's got the dolphins jumping. That's always a good sign that it's working.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. I did forget one green element here. The channel display in this section is also green. I don't know if that shows up in the picture, but yeah, the channel 11 is green. Now, if I go up higher, it switches to white channels. But yeah, right now we are in the super green mode of operation. Hey, thanks for letting me check it in. Like I say, I got one more I want to get in here a little later, and we'll see you then.
All right, I know Joe is waiting. 23 Skidoo. Thanks, Mitch, who is actually working on a notebook of book of these radios and the people who love them. XM2300 is a Panasonic chassis, so it's probably not the infamous 2, Model 2 like the Robins, but it's a Panasonic chassis, Nuvista front end versus the M2300, which did not. So you got a good radio there, as you well know. The frequency check, when I was at 27085 even, I was hearing just a slight zero beat. I rolled it down about 50 to 100 cycles down, like 27084.9, and it went away. So yeah, you are pretty close to being on frequency. Back in the studio here, radio number 1 on our list, the Fanfare XM2300, extremely green, for your March St. Patrick's Day pleasure, and extremely nice for your on the air. That is a daily driver radio, if ever there was one, if you want to keep the tubes glowing. Thanks, Cliff. Over to, they want to do the jingle singers. Let's not do the jingle singers right now. Let's go to Joe, who is patiently waiting with radio number 2. Hello, radio.
Hello, Dennis. Doggone it, we'd like to check in our Johnson Messenger 223 and hopefully get a little help from you there. It seems to be cutting out on us a little bit. Dennis, we have 10 tubes, 23 channels. Old base Johnson Messenger, not mobile, just base.
Well, it keyed up just fine. I know sometimes when you're on the Messenger TWO, you get the stutter step, but the 223 does not do that. Seems like you're on frequency. The audio is a little different, and it sounds like you have a microphone that may have an element that is not quite set properly in the case or something. There's a little something going on with your microphone element, but it's keying the radio, and there's no crackling or anything like that. So take another transmission. We'll see if we've got full carrier over.
Okay, Dennis, I was cutting out right now just as you were talking. I'm kind of interested. I may check those. I may check the seating on the tubes and kind of go over that a little bit. But it seemed like it was cutting out as you were talking. Anyway, Dennis, doggone it, we wanted to check it in and get whatever information we can get, and hopefully get this one to the doctor and get it well.
Okay, and an interesting note, this radio, the 223 that you're on, and the radio that we just had, the Fanfare XM2300, both have what's called as a relay, electronic switching. So, well, wait a minute, does this have electronic switching? Maybe it doesn't. Because if it did, when you unplug the microphone, your receive audio would go away. That's the telltale sign of electronic switching. So if you had a loose wire or some issue with the microphonium on, and I don't know what pin it would be, it's possible that it could be cutting your audio, your receive audio sound out. So you would keep an eye on the S meter when I'm talking, and as long as I'm still at S9 or 10 where I'm at and it cuts out, that's a possibility that maybe if it's electronic switching, it could be just having some issue with the speaker sound rather than the radio receive. But that's something to think about.
Yeah, it was cutting off quite a bit there, and I've got my eye on one tube. I just fiddled around with it a little bit, and it made a little bit of crackly sound, and like it wanted to get going. Okay, well, doggone it, we got a chance to check it in there, and we've got the case off of it, so we're going to continue to do a little work on it, and we've got others warming up, Dennis.
All right, well, your transmit is A-OK 100%. It keys up perfectly, so if that is a electronic switching, then it could be a culprit where you're just losing the receive audio out of the speaker, and there's no issue with the receiver itself, but that's a possibility. If it's not electronic switching, then it could be something. It could be something else, because you mentioned it's only on the receive, and definitely I'm not hearing any bad stuff on the transmit. Radio number 2, Messenger 223, similar to what I have behind me here. Nice radio, really well made. It's one of those that looks good on your shelf. If you're going to have one radio, it's just nice. It's all there. Big speaker, volume squelch, 23 channels, S meter, it lights up. It's got the nice chrome surround, and not too utility, not too over the top with wood, and it works well as demonstrated. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Dennis. And we'll get another one warmed up here.
All right, your old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's glowing in the dark. On the air since, I don't know, been 1985. I'm just one of the many net controllers, and Joe and Cliff, one of the many Tube Radio operators that have stopped by in the last 35 years, and we appreciate their efforts. The jingle singers who have been with us most of that time will do what they do best. Back in a moment.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. Your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
Station for you, OTR. And I see Tony's up on Echolink. And Tony, if you're listening on Echolink, take a transmission. I got the info for the local testing from the site you mentioned, and I appreciate that. So if you want to check in or have any additions, jump in on Echolink here, and we will grab you. But thanks for the update on local testing, KB6GFD. And we are listening for radio number 3.
I'll go.
What do they say? I'll go, you go, we all go for a radio. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. This one seems to be just a teeniest bit lower in frequency. And there it says it's right on. So, close enough for jazz, I guess. Can you hear me, Dennis?
Yeah, you are very loud over.
Yeah, probably overly loud. From what my meters and little wiggly lights are saying. Okay. Yeah, I can see my breath. Okay. Let's see. For this I know of. This is from Winnisquam, New Hampshire. And this is the tram TR27 Echo. Also known as the Chromium Tram. Back to you.
All right, not the DAM tram, but the Chromium tram. We do have a shot of the 27 Echo. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put up the, oops, how did we get that? We'll put up the ad for the tram TR27E from CB Horizons magazine, October 1963. So here's probably late 62, sometime in 63 radio. Yeah, you've got a lot of audio on that thing. So not sure what you're using. They're showing it with the Turner style. Not sure if it's a +2, but they're showing a Turner style of microphonium on that. And another step forward in CB Communications, TR27E base station. And it gives lots of technical data, gives a service tip, and indeed you can write them, Winnisquam, New Hampshire, 03289 at P.O. Box 187, Department 10A. Back to you.
Yeah, where the New Hampsters come from. Let's see. Yeah, this is the amplified but turned way, way down gray bass, the D104 biastatic. And I do have one other astatic mic I would like to try out on this thing. But I had to bring out the other green radio. It has been Harveyized for your protection and mine. Since I checked it in here officially the last time. I was out here playing with it last week while you were gone. There's actually a bunch of us out here on them. And they are an awful lot of fun. All 23-channel crystal-controlled transmit with VFO receive to let you listen in wherever it is you want to go. Has a nice adjustable noise limiter on it, on-off volume, and of course squelch. But no RF gain or anything like that. And of course the meter goes into the green at the 9 S unit or 9 dB, whatever that crossover section is, goes into the green on the big meter and has the nice big speaker for listening to everybody. It sounds so much bigger and received than the Fanon did. But I'd like to quickly change to this other one because it's a very cool microphone that actually, visually anyway, goes so much better with this radio. But I don't have the Turner 254, which that goes with this. But back to you for a second while I switch mics.
Okay, I will switch mics. I have the Orban meter up. You were getting a nice like minus 20, maybe minus 19 on the LKF's loudness. Went to the S meter, still good at 5 over, 10 over S9, a good forward movement on that. It's one of those radios that sounds, you think you should be seeing 20 over because it's so loud. Good responses from our listeners. So I think you're good to go, and I'm curious are the listeners as to microphonium number 2, what it might do on the Tram TR27E over.
Okay, now this is a different mic, also made by Astatic, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1 blast off. How is this one working? Back to you, Dennis.
Still good. It definitely rolls off a little bit of the high frequencies that the other one has. It's still pretty loud on the gain. Still hearing the Delta Oscar Golf, and it looks like the loudness is about the same. It might actually be showing more, which to my ears it doesn't sound as loud, but to the meter it was showing that it was a little bit louder. So that's interesting. Not as harsh. Someone saying they think that mic sounds better. And so I think it depends on how you're listening. The other one might be a good DX mic if you're down in the noise, because it's pretty shrill. Over.
Oh, well, that is the consensus. Like I said, I was out here with it last week. We were just kind of having an OTR party on the air, kind of like we used to, you know. And that was the consensus. The D104 is pretty shrill, but, you know, you heard all the skip. I thought I might need it for getting through all that, you know, depending on what was happening. But they said this one was a bit more pleasant audio. This is the Astatic DN50. It's Delta November-50, DN50. And the base and the head are in an aqua turquoise, you know, greenish bluish kind of color. The rest of it, of course, being chrome. And it looks really cool with this radio. Some people call this the alien head Astatic microphone because it has an elongated head. And I found it's actually pretty directional. I'm talking straight into it because I noticed last week it seemed like it falls off if I like turn to the side like that or turn to the side like that. It's pretty directional. What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's definitely picking up the background. I have a D10A. Yeah, it's a different, everybody's used to seeing the round lollipop. And I think this is a more, the D10A is a little more, I don't know, mid-century modern bullet style. Anyway, good. It's good, works. It's not doing anything bad to the audio. And I'm looking to see here. I was trying to see if I had a picture of I think of the D10A head, which I don't right off the bat, but it's doing good. So yeah, either microphone. This one is definitely the Ragchew mic, that's for sure.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, it's very similar to the D10A head, but this is the DN50. It's Delta November 50. And if you Google it, you'll see them pop up. There are many pictures of these. But mine is different. Like I say, somebody painted it and did a really good job. So it's a pretty good match for this radio. I do have pictures of these, but you know, the radio and the mic. But I'm not sure how to get them to where you can access them. Back to you.
Okay, I think, let me see if I can do a quick picture here on a close-up. There it is. I think this is an eBay item of interest. Probably using a different element Put that as a DN50 on the radio. So it's good. Works good. Let me see if it comes back as vintage 1950s, a static DN50 dynamic microphone with desk stand. So you got a 60s radio with a 50 microphonium. Over.
Yeah, the stand is a TUG9, and I can't wait to hear this thing on the playback. I've really wanted to hear the difference between these two microphones, and that'll be a lot of fun. But what do you think? Harvey did a pretty good job on this radio, eh?
Yeah, it's definitely loud. The frequency sounds good. It is good. So you see that big radio and you think that's got to have a big sound, and indeed it does. So it's a keeper, another daily driver.
Oh yeah, and the transmit audio is just as big. It's got a big loud audio. I actually don't have to turn the volume up very much, or it's just too loud. But I hope the output audio is every bit as impressive. And I forgot to mention, 12 tubes in this one. The last one only had 11 tubes, counting the what is that? The 6CW. 5 or 6CW6 or something like that, little, what do you call those things? New Vistor tube. This does not have any new Vistors in it. This is all tubes, 12 of them. And like I say, all the channels you could ever want. So back to you.
All right, back to me in the studio. 23 Skidoo saying the 10DA head was dynamic versus crystal elements. In a lot of the D104s, it rolls off a bit of the high end and is preferred by some for SSB use. Have one as well, so might be a bit muddy sounding on AM, which I don't think yours is. But when you compare the two, the other one's so shrill. Someone may, if you get your ear tuned to it, somebody might say, well, this one's a little muddy. But I think just for that radio, because it's got so much audio, toning down your high frequencies a bit with the DN50. Definitely helps for sure. You are radio number 3 with the Tram TR27E, and it is still there, getting some good reports from our listeners, and indeed another. I don't know what shade of green that is, but I'm going to put it in the green radio category. Over.
I think so. They're bluish greens, aqua greens. The mic is actually more of a turquoise, but there's green in there somewhere, and I think enough green for everybody. And like I say, this has the chrome cabinet.
I hear you, Harvey. We're checking in a radio from
well with a lot of the chrome on these microphones, and I'm just glad to get this thing going out here. But what do you think? In future episodes, should I save the D104 for maybe fighting my way through the carnage and use this one, or use this one for normal?
If he is,
what do you think?
he can let you know via the
all right, hey,
stream, and then
there's Harvey coming through the crossband.
I'll try and get it in. Comment about W6.
Okay, Harvey check in on the crossband, so he's probably going to join us for the end of the net. I would say put on the shriller mic. Is that the D104? Put that on for the check-in on the roll call. Get through the skip, and then when you come for the chat here on the tube radios, you can switch to the current microphonium.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's been the consensus, and I hear and obey. Once again, thanks for letting me check it in, and we'll see you next time.
All right, very good. Someone's saying you have the teal without the squeal, sounding good on the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello to 700 Weed Killer joining us. Also, Captain Robert is joining us. Hope you are doing well. As if you were out here joining us tonight, I imagine that is a possibility, so we're good with that. Albert and the Squamish Boys, I'm going to bring up some volume here And I want to, what I'm listening to, bring down the threshold. See if we can get it.
See if JT is still listening.
I'm listening to a receiver in Squamish, BC. It's tuned to 27085. So I'll keep that up in the background. There it is. I'll keep that up in the background. And turn the volume down a little bit. But that's the Squamish, BC receiver on 27085. And I just wonder if we can hear you guys out there if you take a transmission. I don't know. So I'll keep it down. I'll look for some activity. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. The Jingle Singers are back yet again, and we'll be listening for radio number 4.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
47.
All right, it's like an auction. We have 37. Do I hear 47? And yes, I hear them both. Chris, step up to the microphone. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Squamish boys waving.
All right, hold on just a second.
DX in there.
Hold on just a second. We've got the Squamish boys
Not really.
direct. They're not quite on channel 11, I don't think. So we'll go with 37. So Chris, step up into the air chair, your radio 4, and then we'll follow that with Mike. So I got to wait for them to hear the delay on the replay. But yeah, they were coming through good. Say hello to OTR. You guys out in Squamish, give us a hello radio to the Old Tube Radio Network. We'll pick you up direct here if we can.
How about it, How about that OTR, AOTR 256, Squamish boys? I say 256, Squamish boys, waving to that OTR.
All right, big signal on the scope. I've got you 2708678.
Squamish boys,
There you go.
428 on the base. Trying to get to OTR. We heard you got a repeater there. Dennis, 428, operator Peter, trying to get back to you.
Yeah, you're sounding good. I know there's some delay going on here, but you've got some good quiet conditions in your neck of the woods, and we're listening to a receiver up your way, and it's doing a good job. So thanks for checking in with us tonight, and we've got you on an official check-in over from Squamish, British Columbia. And there's a bit of a delay lag time, but they're sounding good at 27085 from the direct. On the receiver.
Over, Dennis. We're trying to listen to your program, and I'm trying to get a hold of 256 here in Squamish. But it's awesome that you got a repeater set up. Just is so exciting there, Dennis. 428, back to you.
All right, 428, doing a good job. Nice. Good audio, good signal on the scope, and the other station was there, but they were up at about 27088.
Yes, it's Albert.
Albert.
I would like to check in my old Craig 23 channel.
Albert checking in the Craig. All right, I hear you, Albert, and we'll get you checked in on the margins. You're looking good. That Craig is a little bit off frequency. It's up at 27088. 27088, but I hear you just fine. It seems to be picking you up, so maybe it's the receiver going wacky. All right, we'll say 73. Take another transmission, then we're going to get back to the local stations here. But I saw the opportunity to say hello to one of our longtime listeners, and I figured this would be a good way to do it. Over. So a bit of a delay there on the receivers between the delay on the internet and the delay on the other internet, but they're sounding good from live and direct on 27085. But north, 1,000, 1,500 miles, 2,000 miles or so, doing a good job. So let me.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Good evening, OTR. You guys have a good night.
There, but got a great signal up here, sounding good. 428 on the base on the side.
All right, 73, guys, and you had a double transmission. For some reason, you guys are not quite on the same frequency, but I hear you okay. I'm going to turn down the audio from that and go back to local. But always good when we can get some stations in live and direct from British Columbia. Hello, Chris. You're not going to be hard to hear at all.
What'd you say? What?
I can hear you. You are Radio 4. Let's go back to the studio here and take a transmission over.
Okay, well, I guess I'll talk in my normal voice. Anyway, excuse me. Anyway, Dennis, I would like to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A 24-channel version is saying, and we're running this here with a handheld stock original microphone. Over.
A lot of talks about microphones tonight and switching microphones out to get the best sound. I don't think we've ever tried to switch microphones on that, and there is certainly no need. I just don't see how you could improve on that by putting a fancy D104 or any type of pre-amplified Turner Plus 2 or Sidekick or Bounce Kick. You have it going on, out of the box, ready to go, back to you.
Yeah, you know, the best part about it still works.
It still works, and that is why the old Tube Radio Network has been here in the 1980s, the 1990s, the 21st century, 2010s, the 2020s, 2023, and the radios are still working despite our efforts.
I know, well, this thing's keying up at roughly 6, almost 7 watts, and swinging up about 21.
No, I believe it. I believe it. Back before they were putting in a lot of modulation limiters and things that would make the FCC happy to keep it at 4 watts DC input, you could get away with that kind of stuff. And you've never gone in there and twisted anything. That is just the way the radio is.
Yeah, I just like to get my antenna up higher. That way you hear me even better, hopefully. I'm down in the mud. I'm down to low point right now. It's probably, 25 feet up there, something like that, to base. I got to get it pushed back up whenever this weather straightens out.
All right, well, you're well over S9. We don't have any skip going on, so I've got a decent copy on you. Your radio number 4, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A from about 1972, and the last radio that I believe General Radio Telephone got type accepted. They made one after this, at least one after this, the Super MC12, but I think part of that was from Skyhawk Communications, and it may not have gotten the type acceptance. 9 tubes, 2 transistors, and the tubes, the final amplifier, no, the modulator output, ECLL 800 and 12AX7A, which I'm sure is in pristine condition. Take a transmission, and thanks for stopping by.
You betcha, Dennis, and thank you for being there as always. I'm going to get out of here. Movie night again. That's what my wife always did. So, if movie ends, if you're still there, I'll try to get in another one. But in between this and that, I'm going in there for now, but I will be listening.
All right, thanks for that. Sounding good. And there's a lot of popcorn around. So if you don't have any popcorn there, come on over. We've got popcorn in the green room. The Squamish boys who you just heard live and direct out of British Columbia. They always provide popcorn for us. Thanks. Let's go over to Radio 5 and SWL 47. Hello, Mike.
Well, there it is. 47, not from the radio patio anymore. I actually can't feel my toes. The sensation is coming back to my forehead and my arms. We've moved from the radio patio back into the radio lounge with a Robin T123.
All right, the Robin sounding good. And yet, I think you heard it there, another radio transmission remotely, but we're actually listening to the radio. So between Echolink and radios talking on from afar, no delay. I like the fact that I'm not having to work with the delay. So the 123 is what you said, I believe, so there should be a magic eye involved?
Yes, there is. It was the main enchanting feature that led me to my first tube radio purchase. was I believe it's a 6 or E13 unless I'm mistaken, a vertically mounted Magic Eye tube, which the more you scream into it, there's a bar that illuminates from the top, goes down, a bar that illuminates from the bottom going up, like stalagmites and stalactites, and the more you open your mouth, the more it closes its illuminated mouth. How's that for a description?
I think that's good. Maybe that's why they stopped. They were a little too scary. It's like this person talking back to you, but we're looking at the side of the tube rather than across the top. Pretty ingenious, though, for giving you some modulation, probably a tuning. Tuning's the same way, where you get those two pieces to come together for the maximum signal. Plus, you've got the S meter to go with it. Plus, you got 23 channels, and it sounds good for a green radio. Take a transmission.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting me check it in. I almost took it on the road this evening. I got lazy. Did some chicken parm outs on the radio patio, and and that was it. I'm trying to thaw out right now. But I think on that, someone else was trying to chime in when I keyed up. So I think I'll send it back to you, and we'll get some more radios in there. So thanks for letting me check the Robin T123, and what a pleasure it is to use it and to hear everyone else.
All right, and I guess in honor of the 16th anniversary, Chrissy will be, Dwayne and Chrissy will be happy. Yet another green radio coming in tonight. Nice, smooth audio, sounds good. I think back long ago, we went through the possible microphones that would make this radio sound good, and you have picked the right one for sure here on the Old Tube Radio Network. I'm going to jump over to the Jingle Singers, yes, and then we'll be listening to see if there's any stations that would like to jump in, because there is plenty of room tonight on your Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
60.
All right, 16. I have a feeling that Harvey may be at his QTH. He was mobile, heard him on the crossband. SWL 60 stepping up to the air chair and the microphonium. Joe, I am getting your name adorned to radio number 6. Over to you.
I think somebody keyed up.
That was probably a confirmation, but it's your turn. Go ahead.
Okay, Dennis. Doggone it, we've been seeing a lot of green radios tonight, and handsome radios at that. But I'd like to check in my little blue radio, the Hustler from World Radio Labs.
WRL, the World Radio Labs Hustler. I'm going to try and do two things here. One, I can get it up for the video. And another way, if I'm smart enough here, which is often not the case, I should be able to get it up for those who are over at oldtuberadio.net. I'm just checking to see that I did. Yes, I did. All right, I'm ready to go. Take a transmission.
Thank you much, Dennis. 7 tubes. 7 tubes, 8 channels, and 11 preferably on channel 3. This is my pretty little blue radio. Be a nice little radio to get going in some metal dash car like a nice 59 Ford sedan, which has a nice metal dash. All the hardware is included. It has you can hang it up, and that's included. It also has the mic hanger on it, except you wouldn't be able to use right now this mic, the Turner Plus 3.
And the Plus 3 is amplified, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I think you've got it set okay. I don't know, I hate to tell people to turn things up when it's not necessary. So I don't think you need to. Who's that listening in? Daniel T. Thank you for the greetings to OTR. You are listening to a very rare radio. It's called The Hustler. That's the picture we're showing. It's made by World Radio Labs, who were actually makers. Leo Meyerson and WRL were makers of a lot of amateur radio gear. And in the early 60s, they sort of changed companies and went to Globe Electronics. But they did get into the Class D 11-meter radio. And this is what you're going to hear. Coming up, take another transmission, Joe.
Thank you there, Dennis. Doggone it, we're doing the best we can with the 7 tubes. Unbelievable. And the microphone is about 1230 on the dial. And it's not quite cranked up too high. I don't think it is. But anyway, like I said, 7 tubes, 8 channels, and a little display of knobs, your volume, your squelch, which is a little backwards. You have to go the other way to the left to work the squelch on it. And it has a slot for an extra crystal. Maybe we could have done that one for 11. And a little indicator there for the, I guess, for the channel selector. And a little tuning knob, which puts you right on the money.
Right on the money is good. And 23 Skidoo, you know, when Joe first came on with his radio, and we were looking for the pictures, and there was a Hustler and a Rustler, we never did solve that issue. We like the Hustler because, of course, Joe's handle is the Hustler. Very few people actually have a radio that's their handle, that they didn't maybe look at the radio and make their handle. I mean, it's just happened that way. And the Rustler, I don't know. Could there be a copyright infringement? And then whose copyright was infringed on? Was there another Rustler somewhere? Did it sound too, I don't know, like scary? Like, you're not bringing that Rustler in here, but a Hustler, well, maybe that's even worse. I don't know. Whatever it is, Joe, you're sounding good and people like it. Take a transmission, and thanks for Radio 6.
Thank you much, Dennis. Yeah, it would be kind of crazy to deal with the Rustler along with the Hustler. Yeah, that it seemed like it would either be a radio on top or below the Hustler. Who knows? We'll never know, I guess, on this end. But thanks a whole lot there, Dennis, for letting us check this little blue radio in from World Radio Labs, the Hustler.
All right, liking the blue radio for our 6th radio of the evening. Who's joined us? Dayton, Ohio is in. Hello to Ricardo over on the Echo link out of Threeland. I don't know if you were just happened to stumble on the call, or maybe you are listening into the net here, Old Tube Radio Network from Fresno, California. Winding down, but checking in. What we do is it's like an old car show, right, where the cars drive to the hamburger stand on a Friday evening. Here on a Saturday evening, the radios drive up here on Channel 11, and we share them via local and through oldtuberadio.net and the link to the video. Let's see. Is there a Radio 7? I know there's some other stations out there. I want to get everybody in before we sign out tonight, so we're listening for Radio 7. Over.
Old Tube Radio Network 163, the Mud Duck Radio, New Mexico. We're listening.
All right, and hello, New Mexico. We are here in Central California. We're streaming at oldtuberadio.net, running in some of the classic tube radios. So thanks for listening in and joining us this evening. Over.
Radio Network. Thank you, Dennis, for letting me in your show.
All right, sounding good from, I think you said New Mexico. So the band is open. I'll have to get the DX map up and running here and seeing it. It's not even showing that we have conditions yet. So thanks for letting us know the band is open.
Well, right back at you, Dennis, and thanks for doing your show. I'm just radio guy myself, just sitting here still working pretty late. Say, thank you there, Dennis. You enjoyed this evening. And the DX map, I'm in the southwest corner of New Mexico. Aloha, Hawaii, 163 in the desert. We're clear.
All right, 73. Thanks for joining us. Looking for Radio 7. If we've got a Radio 7 tonight, over.
Well, maybe that could be me. I need to be just about the last one, so I don't hold up somebody else checking in, so a radio in. So, Dennis, check and see if there's somebody else.
Okay, any other stations that want to get in, we'll make the next. I always say that we'll make it our last, but that could not be. But Harvey is planning to take what we call in the biz, what we call in the AM biz, an old buzzard transmission. So he's being polite, so that you're not tapping your foot, waiting for him to stop, because he's basically saying he's not going to. Anybody else want to check in before we head over to Harvey? All right, there was a transmission, but no audio. Try it again.
Well, we have to wait a minute on this one. I know you know which one this is. Anyway, SWL 60 wanted to check in.
All right, let's do that. Put you at Radio 7. SWL 60. And I always remind people, you do not have to have some special number to check in. You don't have to have a number to do anything. No secret handshakes. No special hats to wear. Just get on the radio and join us. Or maybe not. Don't even get on the radio and join us. You don't have to be on the radio. But we have a lot of listeners out there joining us on YouTube and oldtuberadio.net. But join us. The whole point of this is to get on the air and enjoy your CB radio the way it should be, right? And our stations do a very good job of that. So, Joe, take a transmission on Radio 7. Go ahead.
Thank you much, Dennis. I'd like to check in my other Johnson, another favorite of mine. Doggone it, the T-double-O.
All right, the TWO Messenger 2. I've got a picture here. I may have some others, but we'll go with this one. It says it all. This is not a fancy radio. It was not made to be fancy. Class D was never made officially in the FCC's mind to be a fancy thing with multiple channels and S meters and whatever. It was made to communicate between a base and a unit of that call sign. Somehow things got way out of hand. But here's a radio that was really made with that intent in mind from the E.F. Johnson Company. The Messenger TWO. Take a transmission.
Thank you much. Thank you much, Dennis. Doggone it. Yeah, it's not. You might say it's not a pretty radio, but it is my blackface Johnson, and the two little indicators, your channel selector and your channel setting, tunable, I guess. Channel setting and your volume and your squelch, and of course your little modulation indicator light behind the screen, not necessarily in front, but behind the screen, is looking at you when you key up the mic.
Indeed it is. The old ice cream cone microphone. Hello to Radio Randy, by the way. We just heard from New Mexico. Had a station come in out of New Mexico. So, Randy, point the beams this way. You're a little bit closer than New Mexico, but tune into 27085 and see if you've got some short skip, sporadic E, whatever you want to call it, coming in from Central California. Radio Randy, one of the 7199 audio crew. The Messenger TWO, like you said, they weren't made to be pretty. They were made to do the job. And yours is definitely doing that. There were a couple of models. I think there was a 120-volt version. There was a 12-volt version, 10-tube radios, crystal controlled, of course, as designated by the FCC. And for the transmit, the receive could be of crystal or non-crystal to keep things easy. But it did have a 23-channel tunable receive, which you have to channel 11, no doubt. Radio 7, sounds good. Take another transmission, Joe, and then we'll head over and see what Harvey's got for us. Over.
Thank you much, Dennis. We always enjoy keying these radios up on the OTR, and we'll get on out of here in evening time, Harvey.
Okay, ready for this, Dennis?
All right, let me clear the video and do the thing. The Jingle Singers want to do one more. No, we'll wait. We'll wait on the Singers of Jingle. And I do believe I'm ready. So go ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, first, check in the Golden Beagle, R68, T68, custom mic, blah, 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 blah. Okay?
Okay, over.
Okay, now, I'm going to unkey, and then you want to key up and say okay or something, fine, but I have to lower the volume, flip a coax switch, key up the other radio, which is just a transmitter. I can't hear on it. I'm going to talk, say a few things, then you got to give me time after I unkey to go back to the Beagle. Okay, here we go.
All right, so we're changing the transmitters without a receiver, and I didn't have the S-meter up, but here we go.
Okay, this is a transmitter, work in progress. I'm hoping that JT is listening back in South Carolina. If not, hopefully he's going to listen to the stream. This is a Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB transmitter. That wasn't working, and now it's working on AM, and probably only on AM, based on the modifications that someone else, not JT, had made to it. So, anyway, frequency-wise, it should be darn close. I'm showing 084.9, which I can adjust up or down, so we don't have to worry too much about that. It's amplified D104, turned up about 1/4. The gain, mic gain in the radio is turned up 1/2, so we can use it with an unamped mic. Okay, now I'm going to unkey and give me a few seconds to go back to the other radio.
All right, we could actually check that in because we only need to hear you on the transmitter. Doesn't matter what the receiver is, and that actually is the transmitter. Let me go back to the radio or to the receive so we can hear your radio. Over.
Oops, I was listening to you. You keyed up just a hair too quick for me, but I turned down the volume, flipped the switch. I'm back on this. Hopefully, the Browning Gold Eagle Mark III SSB, minus the SSB, haha. But anyway, JT's radio from South Carolina. The microphone is my amplified D104. You can let me know if you think it's too loud or something. Give me a few seconds. I've got to unkey, flip switches.
All right, this is the unkey and flip switch frequency. Now is when I should be playing the Jingle Singers. Well, it wasn't too loud. I'm not sure that's the best. What I was hearing was the best microphone for that radio. I'm not sure. It was a little restricted, but it's certainly loud. And it was actually louder than the Beagle. As everyone notices, like, whoa, your audio came way up. So it could be just some, tweaking between how loud is loud and what sounds good. But I didn't hear anything that was objectionable over.
Okay, I'm back on the Beagle. The Beagle's got the unamped D104. I'm going to swap them and microphones and be back.
Okay, and that will give us a thought, because I'm thinking that amplified microphone might not be the best choice for Browning. I don't think an amplified microphone is always a good choice for Browning, because it's like the general radio telephone that Chris has. It's just like, why would you want to amplify that? If anything, you want to add some EQ or some compression to it. It doesn't need any amplification. The radio's doing that just fine. It just kind of It's like too much cake. I don't know. Can you hear me, Harvey? Over.
Okay. Unamped D104 from the Golden Beagle on the Gold Eagle Mark III. It doesn't swing as far, but I don't care. As long as it works, he can put whatever mic on he wants, turn up the gain in the radio as much as he wants, and see. Okay, I'm going to unkey. Give me a second or so to go back to the Beagle receiver so I can see what you thought.
All right, we'll stand by for Harvey to do his switching magic and not sustain injury.
Okay, amplified mic on this one. I can't figure out my mic. So what did that unamped mic sound like on the transmitter?
All right, the amplified mic doesn't sound too bad on that. I think it's a little bit too odd. It gets a little mushy at the top end. But it sounds okay. So interesting. It definitely does have a different sound than it does to the other radio. I like it better on this radio.
Okay, I turned it down. Channel. Like on his transmitter.
Yeah, it was almost too much, I think, on the other one. Turning it down was good. I'm acknowledging the breaking station. Will be right with you. Turning it down is good. It got rid of the mush. But it was loud. I still think it was actually louder on the other transmitter. But
okay, just one more test. Unamped D104 from the Golden Beagle. It's now on JT's transmitter. Unamped mic on his transmitter. I know we've got another station waiting, so I'm gonna flip the switch, go back to where I can hear.
Hey, Dennis.
This is Dennis, over.
Yeah, if a person wants to get into ham, what would they have to do?
Okay, and I've got a good answer for that. I've got the perfect answer for that. But hold on one. Because if you're already on your CB radio, you're halfway there. You know, it's like driving a car. You already know how to sort of manipulate the controls. But there's some rules of the road that you need for your amateur radio license that people can help you with. Okay, Harvey, if that was the last transmission, was the JT transmitter with that microphone, that sounded really good. That combination is good, over.
Okay, I'm back on the Beagle with the unamped mic. Okay, I will let him know, unless he listens to the stream and hears all this, what you said. So he'll know, kind of have an idea of what mic to run.
All right, very good. Anybody listening out there, especially on the chat, let Mr. JT know, since he's probably not listening, or if he's listening, he's listening like this, that he should tune in, as the saying goes, to the end of the net here to hear the section of the program, if you will, that is dealing with the radio, and he can kind of hear what's going on. So give Mr. JT a notice of that. And by the way, Harvey, I checked in Radio 8, which was the Browning Golden Beagle, R68, T68, and also an early check-in for the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, since we did hear the transmitter, over.
Alrighty, appreciate it. Okay, you've got somebody waiting, so go back to them. And I believe Cliff was still waiting outside to hear that radio. So, and it's cold for him, so I thank him for that. Okay, back to you, Dennis.
All right, very good. And Jim out of Boston, I agree with Jim. The unamplified the unamplified microphone on the Mark III, actually, out of all the things you did, I think was the cleanest, not overdone, for rag chew sounding audio. It really did sound pretty good. Whatever the first microphone you had on the JT radio wasn't doing it justice. It was super loud, but the tone quality wasn't quite right, since we all know your voice. All right, I am going to try to address the question from our very patient breaking station wanting to know about getting into ham radio. There's probably ways, and I'm assuming that you have the ability to get on the internet, which may or may not be true. But there is a testing session coming up. I don't know if it's just the test, because really what you would need is more of the test. You need more of a technical session. But W6BW, W the number 6BW.org, says click on activities for details. Oh, it's a free technician training class. No, this is exactly what you want. All right, I'm going to try it here. W6BW, Mountain Amateur Radio Club in Oakhurst, and click on activities. Okay, this may be the perfect answer to your question. A new technician class is planned and scheduled at the LDS Church, I guess that's the Latter-day Saints Church, on School Road in Oakhurst over 2 Saturdays, starting Saturday, May 6th and 13th, 2023. Both days will start at 8 a.m. and will last for about 8 hours. That's pretty intensive. Those attending should bring their own lunch, as there will be about a 30-minute break for lunch. The technician exam will be held on May 13th following the class at the church. So this is a class with real people, with technicians that are going to answer your questions, that know the questions are going to be asked, that are actually going to make sure that you can operate the radio and when you have questions about things. So perfect. And that is at W6BW.org, and there's probably a way to talk to them and ask some questions. Anyone interested in attending should email SteveK5000@gmail.com to get further information. But that is a good answer to your question. That is one thing you can do if you need help that way, because you can do this all yourself online. But to have an actual person, actual ham radio operators, where they have the equipment there probably to answer your questions, to get you set up to get on the air. And like I said, you're already operating a radio. You're already here on CB, so you knew that part of it. But the rules and regs and some of the, I'll call it, what you might want or need to do for ham radio. Sometimes CBers, we come into ham radio and we have sort of a CB accent, if you will. And so this is a way probably to take a class and to lose your CB accent without losing your ability to get on the radio, to get on CB radio. So that's the technician class. So hopefully, station, that's a lot of information, but that is something that's coming up here locally. Over.
Well, thank you, Dennis. This is Jimmy.
All right, but W6BW.org, and then the activities, and it's got the dates, and it's got the email, and it's the Mountain Amateur Radio Club. It's probably got a contact number, and it's not until May. So you got plenty of time to get ready and schedule things, and there's going to be other people probably just like you asking the same questions, want to get into amateur radio, that realize that just like we heard this afternoon, 11 meters is going to get pretty doggone busy. And so if you'd like to talk to somebody, you're probably going to have to wait until 10 o'clock at night until it sounds like it is now, where when you get your amateur radio ticket, you get the one that will allow you to do voice on 10 meters, you'll be able to go up there and maybe have a contact with your 10 meter, 11 meter approved radio and your piece of wire antenna that you're going to build yourself, probably because they'll show you how to do it in the class. So anyway, thanks for asking. That was a good question.
Well, thank you. Is there a place online where I can go study for this test?
I don't have the link. There used to be a place, I think, on QRZ.com, and there's probably something you can click on there. It says amateur radio exams or testing, and they may actually have the questions on the latest test pool where you can see the question and the answer and just quiz yourself Now, you will learn the answers to the questions. You may not learn a little bit what the questions mean, which this class would certainly help you with, but if you want to get familiar with the questions that you may be asked, that would be a way to do it. And then on the late night Old Tube Radio Network, the Jingle Singers said,
You're tuned to
OTR, Channel 11,
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
all right, anybody else before we sign out tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network? And I will be back in one moment because I was having so much fun. I have not counted and amounted yet. Listening, and back in a moment.
Yeah, I was just checking to see if Cliff's still outside. Hey, Cliff, you still outside? Sorry, it's cold out there. Okay, catch you next week, Dennis.
All right, thanks. You heard Mike, he was getting frostbite out there.
Okay. Hey, maybe next week I'll have the transmitter and the receiver together. That'd be nice. Okay. Anyway, I've got to get something to eat. I had just gotten home, so. Anyway, I'll let you go.
Yeah, the 3 with the unamped mic sounded pretty good. Very, very acceptable.
All right, you'll be happy. So am I. When I looked at it, I went, huh, this is the inside of a Mark III? Huh, how about that?
All right, go get some, as we say on radio, some Foxtrot Double Oscar Delta over.
Roger, I'm going to get some food also. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final totals for your Old Tube Radio Network here on the 25th day of March. Is it the 25th? Yes, it is. And what's that? What's wrong with my hair? It's some weird shampoo. I don't know. It's kind of. It wasn't OTR approved, but at least I still have something to work with. All right. What did we do? Radios and shortwave listeners. 17 on page 1, 18 on page 2, 15 on page 3, 20 on page 4 for a total of 70. We are in week 7. Is it? Gosh, is it week 7 already? So I think next week is our last week. I say that now. I don't know. I'm not a very good bookkeeper. Radios tonight. The most heard manufacturers, it appears we had a tie between the Brownings and the Johnsons. We started off with the Fan and Fanfare XM2300 with a very nice audio courtesy of Panasonic and Courier. Then we had the E.F. Johnson 223 Messenger from Joe, the first radio from Cliff. Radio number 3, Cliff came back on the Tram TR27E, really nice sounding audio. I would still like to see some other microphones on that radio. Maybe like a 444, but whatever he had, whatever that the D104 combination was good. Don't have to change a thing. Chris came by on the ever popular General Radio Telephone MC11A. The microphone that came in the box was perfect for that, as it has been throughout all the check-ins. Radio number 5, the Robin T123. Thank you, Mike, for that. And I hope you are back inside and getting warm. It is very cool outside. You can see that we've got wind, a little wind chill. Joe with a triple play, Radio 6 and Radio 7, the Hustler from World Radio Lab, followed by the Messenger TWO from E.F. Johnson, both sounding good as always. Radio number 8, Harvey on the Browning Golden Beagle, the R68T68. And then JT doesn't know it, but his transmitter, his radio got checked in, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, and a little bit of test. And it seems to be working. Harvey, who said he wasn't sure what was in the box when he opened it up, is now looking and maybe sounding more like a Mark III. Happy birthday to those having birthdays. You know who you are. And the 16th anniversary for 00 and 10. Thanks for spending a little bit of it with us tonight. I hope we could at least have some fun in the party as well. So we will catch you all next week. It was good to have, we heard Squamish tonight. We heard from a couple of Echolink stations, so good night. And get on the air wherever you are. As you can see, there are stations interested in upgrading either their first amateur radio license, which is a good thing. You won't regret it. Or maybe advancing your ticket to use some more real estate in the radio spectrum. All good things. Takes a little time, but we are in cycle 25, and it's going to be pretty exciting. So when it gets a little bit annoying here on 11 meters to try and find a parking space, there are places down yonder. You just have to have the right vehicle to get yourself there. 73, everybody, from your old Tube Radio Network. And by request, who's that? That Ricardo? Hello, radio, K3ZQXKB6GFD. Saw you cluing in there. I wasn't sure if you just randomly stopped by or if you were actually listening to the oldtuberadio.net. But anyway, thanks for stopping by over.
of WCB on the off channels, on the freelance channels, actually. I have a lot of audience also on my WhatsApp, and I pass information about the invention, Voice of America,